Katrina, our emphasis was to bring our people back to New Orleans.
Now tell us about that experience and that organization and what it was like when you started and where it is today.
Sure. When I started back after the storm, Rebuilding Together, we had a staff of about 3 and a budget of around $800,000. When I resigned 2 months ago to run for office, we had built and worked to bring our staff up to about 60 people, and our budget was over $6 million, roughly $6 million. And we did that through really creative leveraging of resources, both in the private sector. We've been very successful over the years of raising millions of dollars from across the country and from our local folks, as well as using those dollars to leverage public resources. We have successfully administered community development block grant money. In addition to that, we've created partnerships at larger levels, both at the state and at the city level, to ensure that we have resources to bring our people home.
What would you say that that has showed you in terms of being able to make government work and make a business work? And how do you envision that helping you should you be elected to the New Orleans City Council?
Well, I feel very strongly that the model that we created and that evolved post-Katrina was really a highly successful public-private partnership of what we did and what we were able to accomplish. And I feel very strongly that we need to have that understanding in office at the government level, somebody who can understand what it's like to work with businesses as well as with public funding in order to get the job done. And often you have to include the neighborhood associations and the community members. And I think that this model is what really can drive this city forward. I think we have all seen post-Katrina this wonderful level of civic engagement from across the city. I think we all have recognized that the recovery efforts have been driven by neighborhood groups, by that civic engagement, by faith-based organizations, by volunteers, by people from all over the country. But we don't have a voice. And we need a voice at City Council to speak to these issues, to speak about how difficult it still is to rebuild, to speak about the groups, and also to celebrate our groups and the work that has been done, because a tremendous amount has been done post-Katrina. And I think we need somebody that can highlight those wonderful efforts by people every day, as well as to say this is where we need to work on.
Tell us about District C and the various neighborhoods that make that up.
District C is a fantastic district. I think it's the most diverse district in New Orleans. It encompasses all of Algiers, and then we also cross the river, so it includes the French Quarter, Faubourg-Marigny, Bywater, Faubourg-St. Roch, Esplanade Ridge and Treme, and Faubourg-St. John. These communities are so varied. Each neighborhood is so intrinsically different from the next neighborhood. So we have communities in Algiers that are wonderful bedroom, suburban communities, to neighborhoods such as Bywater, which is much more urban. And so it's a fabulous mix. And I think we need a city council person that understands that mix of our neighborhoods and our communities and can represent them as such.
What is it about growing up in the New Orleans area that makes you want to serve the people now?
Well, you know, it's been my honor and my absolute pleasure to be raised in New Orleans, and then also to work in New Orleans. And I say that at many different levels, from volunteering to actually working. And I've worked in all the neighborhoods in District C on the East Bank, and many of them on the West Bank as well. And I live in Algiers. And I